Assalamu alaikum, brothers, sisters and friends. Today I'm going to go through a key argument for God's existence. The argument is based upon the order in the universe. The argument is based on two simple statements and an inference from those two statements. And once I state the argument, I will go through some of the key contentions that a skeptic can actually make. Now, the very first statement is that the universe has order. Secondly, from our common experience, behind order, there is an organizer. 3, therefore, the universe has an organizer. And this organizer is best explained as God. Now, the very first premise, the universe has order. Our universe obeys the laws of science, and these laws are proof of the order within the universe. For instance, if I drop an object, due to the law of gravity, it will fall to the floor. Likewise, my motion or any motion can be described by Newton's laws of motion. Likewise, we have chemical laws, biological laws and chemical laws. Biological laws, physical laws and chemical laws. And the more scientists discover about the universe, the more of these laws they actually discover. Now, Sir Isaac Newton was the first scientist in the West to describe these laws as universal and mathematically precise. And this is a proposition which scientists still stick to today. Science popularizer and astrophysicist Professor Michio Kaku of City University, New York, he states that the universe obeys noble laws, laws that can be written down in the language of mathematics. So that's the very first statement. The universe has order, and this is based upon the laws of the universe. Secondly, from our common experience, behind order, there is an organizer. Take any human artifact, for instance. Your TV that you are watching right now. Your TV is made of glass, plastic, and metal. Those are the basic things it's made of. Glass comes from sand, plastic comes from oil, and metal comes from iron ore in the ground. Everything your TV is made of, you can find naturally around you. Now, would you ever believe that your TV came around by chance, a product of blind forces? Blind natural forces over millions of years put together your TV. You would never believe that. You would say it has a creator, it has a manufacturer. The reason you would say that is because it's something ordered, it's something arranged. So from my experience, behind order and arrangement, we say there is an organizer. So that is the actual second statement. First, the universe has order. Secondly, from our common experience, behind order, there is an organizer. 3, therefore, the universe has an organizer. And this is best explained as God. Now, this is the argument in a nutshell. What I'm actually going to do is go through some basic contentions that skeptics can make to this argument. The very first contention that they can make is the laws of science is something human beings have made up. Whenever we see something happen repeatedly, we see the earth going around the sun, or we see other natural phenomena repeatedly happen, we just call it law of gravity, Kepler's laws of planetary motion, or all these types of different laws. Now, that's actually true, that these laws, we have given them names. We have summarized our experience by giving it a name, gravity or whatever else we call it. But what is it that we summarize, that we put it down as a law? It's a regularity in the universe. When we see this regularity, we see it happening again and again, and from the observable universe, we haven't seen this regularity being violated, we call it a law. Now, this regularity, whether we observe it or not, whether we name it a law or not, is proof of the order within the universe. So that's, they try to challenge, the skeptic could try and challenge the first statement, and that's the actual way of addressing it. Now, a second common contention is, but there's also disorder in the universe. There is hurricanes and famine and diseases, and ultimately human beings die. Now, the way to address this contention is actually that design is based upon specification. It's based upon something being fit for purpose. Take this instance, for example. 2 people walk past a building. You can clearly see it's a building. You can see the walls, you can see the roof, you can see the guttering, you can see the doors, you can see the windows, you can see everything. You can clearly see it's a building, but the roof has partially collapsed and the building has settled slightly. Now, one person can say, that's really bad design. Clearly the engineer was a really bad engineer and he's designed a really bad building. The other person could say, well, it could be that this building was designed for 50 years and we're walking past after 100 years, but is fine design because it lasted 50 years fine, and after 50 years it deteriorated. Now, you see, if you assume a purpose for the world around you, that can change your actual worldview. Now, if you come from the skeptic's assumption that we are just here for a good time, to live long and to have a good time, then obviously it's going to seem like bad design when people die. But if you come from the Islamic point of view, that we are here to be tested through good and evil, like the Quran says, from that point of view, it doesn't seem bad design at all. But the skeptic can say, hang on a minute, you're assuming that is the actual purpose. And we could say to him, but you're assuming the purpose is that we're here for a long time. We're here for a good time. We're just here to live long and have a good time. So the way to actually end this deadlock is to say, look, why don't we both come out of our social contexts? And why don't we both agree that although we don't know what the purpose is, we can clearly see it's a building. Just like the two people can agree it's clearly a building, although they might not agree what the actual purpose is. In the same way, even if there is disorder in the universe, we cannot say that therefore it doesn't have an organizer. Now, a second thing is many things that we see as disorderly aren't actually disorder. The more scientific advancements we make, we find out the thing that we saw as disorderly wasn't actually disorderly. Christopher Hitchens uses the argument in his book, God is Not Great, that you have exploding stars. And he uses this as an argument for bad design. But what we actually know now in contemporary physics is that exploding stars are crucial to spread heavier elements throughout the universe. Now, the more advances we make in science, the more we actually realize that the things that we saw as disorderly weren't actually disorderly. Now, a third, and I'd say this is the easiest way of actually dealing with this contention. The British physicist Stephen Hawking, he states on the universe, he makes the statement that the overall impression is one of order. The more we discover about the universe, the more we find is governed by rational laws. So you cannot supersede all the order you see purely by pointing to some of the chaotic phenomena that you see in the universe. Now, a third main contention that a skeptic can make is, okay, God organized the world, who organized God? And this seems to be, the skeptic's favorite argument, that, no matter what argument you give them, they simply say, okay, who created God? Now, imagine that. Imagine I come to you and I show you something. I show you a mobile phone, or I show you a laptop, or I show you a car, and I say to you, look how clearly designed this is. Look at how all the parts work together. And you say, you know what? It's not designed, because we don't know who designed the person who designed the car, with a smirk on their face. Think about it. Is that a rational contention? It's actually not. It's actually a question about the nature of God. Because if we say God has a creator, or God came out of, somebody caused God, that's no longer God. So another way of actually addressing this actual contention is saying that God is a logically necessary being. That basically means it is necessary for God to exist, for us to exist. I'll give you a very simple example. You're at home alone, for instance, right now. You want to move your sofa is very heavy. You need two people to move your sofa at least. You go to your neighbor, you knock on his door and you say to him, can you please help me move the sofa? Your neighbor says, sure, I'll help you. Only if my neighbor across the street helps me. So he goes across to his neighbor and he says, can you please help me move the sofa? The neighbor says, sure, I'll help you, only if my other neighbor on the other side of the end of the street helps me. Imagine if this goes on forever. People keep making, I will only help if only this person helps, and this goes on forever. Will your sofa ever move? Well, rationally, it could never move. The only way your sofa could move is if one person said, yes, I'll help, but they don't make any conditions for them to help. In the same way, the universe was created by God. Who caused God? Another cause. What caused that? Another cause. What caused that? Another cause. What caused that? Another cause. If this went on forever, the universe would not exist. But the universe exists. Look around you, we exist. The very fact that we exist is proof that God is the first cause who is uncaused. So inshallah, in a couple of minutes, I have given you a basic argument for God's existence and dealt with some of the contentions that skeptics can actually make. The very fact that we live in a universe which is governed by rational laws, and the fact that these laws are accessible to the human mind, fits in perfectly with a theistic worldview, not an atheistic worldview. I thank you for listening. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.